April 9th, Baghdad falls, and television images are flashed live around the world. Special operations don't get a mention, but in their secret world, they wouldn't have it any other way. France, 1944. 2 weeks after D-Day, the Allied beachhead is secure. The Germans are still fighting fiercely, using their mighty Tiger tanks and 88mm anti-tank guns to lethal effect in the hedges and small fields of the Normandy bocage. Progress is slow, but within another 6 weeks, the Allies will break out and begin their blitzkrieg to liberate France and Belgium. How did the Allies in 1944 and the coalition in 2003 meet the key requirements in the battle plan for special operations? Objective. In the build-up for D-Day, the planners were correct in seeing the disruption of German reinforcements as a vital strategic objective. In Iraq in 2003, General Franks was correct in his judgment that Special Forces could stand in for the U.S. 4th Infantry Division. Build-up. Despite the best efforts of the Gestapo, Allied special operations were able to build up resistance networks with significant military value before D-Day. In Operation Iraqi Freedom, General Franks was able to take advantage of Special Forces personnel already in the Kurdish areas and the rapport they had established with the Peshmerga. Insertion. In France, SOE and OSS developed effective methods of inserting secret agents by parachute, aircraft, or boat. In Iraqi Freedom, Special Forces also developed efficient insertion methods using helicopters or special vehicles. The Iraqis had little idea of how much activity had taken place before hostilities began. Execution. The pre-D-Day deception operations were superb in holding back the panzers, but there is still debate over how effective the resistance really was.
During the Overlord landings, the resistance manages quite a few spectacular victories against the Germans. The effect of these upon the overall operation, however, was relatively minor.
It wasn't just the physical effects of special operations that one needs to look at, it's also the psychological effects, if you like, the hidden effects. The Germans had to protect themselves. They had to attach a company of infantry to each convoy. They had to use the Gestapo to try and winkle out the operatives. They had to be introverted, when really they needed to think much more about how they were going to push the Allies back into the sea.
Special operations can be effective in a variety of ways. Disruption is one. Intelligence is also key.
For example, the British 6th Airborne Division, who landed at Pegasus Bridge, knew exactly how strong the Germans were in that area because a resistance man who was the owner of a cafe had given them precise locations and the precise identification of units.
In Iraq, execution is deadly. The classic special operations in the south succeed in all their objectives, while in the north, the Special Forces teams demonstrate a whole new level of effectiveness. But after Iraqi Freedom, as memories of the Blitzkrieg advance to Baghdad fade, and U.S. and coalition forces become bogged down in combating irregular forces, what is the future for the Special Operations Battle Plan?
The roles of the Special Operations and Special Forces haven't really changed over the years, but the technology has. Now technology allows things to be done with much greater precision, much greater accuracy, at greater range, and at much higher speed. And this makes the Special Operations potentially that much more destructive to the enemy.
As the nature of warfare changes, Special Operations only become a more vital and more potent weapon in any commander's arsenal. Wherever they're asked to fight, in whatever role. But one thing is certain. Stealth remains the most sacred principle of special ops teams. The enemy must never know they're there, or what they're doing, until it's too late.